love and marriage go together like a carabao and trike. This I tell you, brother, you can't have one without the other. Love and marriage, love and marriage, it's a life you can't get rid of. Ask the local Filipinos here, and they will say his elementary. Try to separate them, it's an illusion. Try, and you will only come to this conclusion. I love and marriage go together like a carabao and trike. This I tell you, brother, you can't have one without the other. Life isn't easy with Heidi, American wife, so uptight. George tries, but sometimes cries, but they love each other, you cannot deny. A married life like no other. Love and marriage go together like a carabao and trike. This I tell you, brother, you can't have one without the other. Love and marriage, love and marriage, love and marriage.
Hey, good morning. Have to adjust myself here accordingly. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, it's early room. We've been switching our live streams around. Sound check, by the way, sound check, because I'm using his mic and I messed with the volume some this morning. It seems like some of the last few live streams, it seems like we're beyond fading in and out, even when we're direct on the mic directly. So yeah, we're trying to figure out a better schedule. We've pretty much kept the Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays for a while, which is Philippine time. And then we found the last couple times we've been doing Mondays. So I think we might stick to Monday. And then maybe Wednesday, which is Wednesday now in the Philippines, I might just do expat and just basic Q&A and stuff. And so today, I think we will talk about Social Security and dealing with, like, if you guys have any questions about the banking, if you guys have some questions about, about as much information as I know from experience of living here for almost 5 years in the Philippines and dealing with my disability, Social Security. And they had made a recent announcement, and thank you so much to Cindy and others that have been sending me information in regards to beings. There is no outgoing mail. Good morning, guys. I'll get to the comments. The Philippines Postal PhilPost has suspended the acceptance of all outgoing mail and packages to the United States, but that stopped on the 28th, so about 2 weeks. Due to the U.S.'s new custom requirements and suspension of its duty-free minimus exemption, incoming mail from the United States will not be affected. I'll tell you what it is affected. I received another letter from Social Security. Okay. And that's the second one. And this time, listen to the difference of what happens. Okay. Somebody the other day was talking about how slow the mail is in the Philippines. I don't blame the slow mail. But it is. I thought most of it was just going overseas, traveling, put on a boat, slow plane to China, stops in China and has chop suey, digs underneath the ground, and then works its way under the ocean or something at a reverse pace, right? It says here that this was received on August 29th. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. I'm reading when it was received in the city. This is like the last one. Sorry. It was received in the Philippines on the 20th. It took 9 days to get, I'm assuming it comes in at Manila. It took 9 days to get it here in my city, which is Mabalacat or Angeles City near the airport. I mean, we're just like 2 miles from the airport. And once it arrived, okay, that's crazy. 9 days. So the 20th it entered the Philippines. It took 9 days to get here. Now, I want to let you know when it got in the city, 9 days, I just received it yesterday. That's what I was starting to say. Sorry, guys. I woke up just a little bit ago, had coffee. So on the 9th, I received this. So it took what? 11 days once it was in the city. So 9 days from Manila, give or take, and another 9-10 days when it was in the city, at the city. That's insane, guys. The same letter happened. And then they didn't hand it to me. There's no mailbox. There's no nothing. It's been raining. As you could see, look at it was in the rain yesterday. No call out, no hey, no, and I know people say, oh, well, just, you should have had a mailbox or this and that. Yeah, it's kind of not how it works. It's pretty much a delivery, but it was just stuck between my gate. So maybe I should put a mailbox out there. I only get like 4 pieces of mail. Everything else is packaged. So in saying that, the Federal Bureau unit at the embassy in Manila is now going to start accepting the proof of life letters, which is important because a lot of people like, hey, I haven't gotten it. I haven't, I don't know where to send it. I don't know what to do. So now it looks like they had already made another announcement. Let me pull that up, guys. And I'll repeat this again for those that are coming in. Yeah, so they announced the major change. Expats no longer need to wait for the forms in the mail or to send them back overseas. So basically, you just need to know to do that. As I'm to understand that you get the proof of life letters for multiple reasons, but it's to let them know that you're still, kicking and everything else. And you fill them out, you mail them in every year. So you should automatically do it. A lot of these expats, they're not proactive on it, and then their Social Security gets cut off. David Campbell was one of the popular people that I knew that got cut off, and a bunch of others did too. And their checks stopped sometimes for 2-3 months. And a lot of them are relying on it. And I understand that part of it. So now on the proof of life, which has been a pain in people's bitches' asses, they no longer have to wait. You might as well just fill one out and send it in. Now, all this information I did put in the description for those that are viewing from both channels. So let's see. So the SSA 7161 and the SSA 7162, the questionnaires now can be complete, but you want to mail them in to the U.S. Embassy Federal, I call FBU. I might as well get to the point there. So the address is in the description. They're claiming it started on the 27th. And let's see, all I got here is the address and everything. So they are going to start taking that. So it's kind of important. So far, as a disabled expat, I've been on disability for my major issues since 2010. I mean, I've worked some part-time work like driving and stuff just because I was mostly bored. For those that knew, I drove Uber and then would take occasional people to Miami long distance. But besides that, my medical conditions have only gotten worse, like with the lupus. And it's been kind of, whether I'm there or here, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you shouldn't even have came to begin with. And, oh, you should have done this and that. And something I haven't discussed, and a lot of people are going to be like, oh, crap, but I don't want to hide it. Recently, I canceled my Medicare. And a lot of people are like, oh, my God, I'm not going back. If I'm going to deal with it, I'll just deal with it when I actually return. That's how sure that I never want to go back to that shit show. So I love my country who is in it, but how it's becoming is becoming too radical for me. So the chances of me going back are slim to none. because I'm not taking a chance that George is going to get snatched. You know what I mean? I mean, they're talking about, I'm concerned for George's parent and his sister that are still over there because they've got citizenship. But with the way things are going, they just passed something recently. I don't have all the information that they could actually be held for a while in jail till they figure their citizenship. So they're not even trying to figure that out. And as a foreigner, I don't care what people say that it's not happening. It's happening. So I don't want to take that chance with George. And I don't want, as soon as his mom and sister and them get here, probably the better. So I canceled the Medicare because I haven't used it in, God, 6 years. So I don't see the purpose. I don't care what the fines are. I'm already self-pay for all of my stuff. I can't use it in any manner. I don't have, the supplements. So that's where it is. And so that's what I've been dealing with. It was fairly easy. I didn't think it would be as easy as it was. And they claimed, this is how you hear things on the internet and you read and everything. All I had to do was contact the Federal Bureau unit, the federal, unit, FBU, and I filled out information and said, I want to cancel. It did, and it went into effect. Now, it does take about 2 months for that 179 or that 180 to stop. And that's another thing. I got to calculate how much I've lost, as far as, let's see. So I'm just going to round it up. All right, so I've lost $13,000 for not using an insurance because a lot of people advise to cancel it right away because I had no intention to go back. So if I would have saved 13,000 US dollars, and because I couldn't have used it here anyways. So hey, Geo. So a lot of people. Let's see. It does. I think it does tell me which one. I canceled the one that cost me $180 a month. The rest of them I get to keep because I'm on disability and paid into everything. I guess it's Part B that got canceled. It says here. Part A coverage will continue. It says here. Yeah, and it's telling me to contact the FBU. Also, guys, if you don't have the number, I'll put it in. There is a number here somewhere that's dealing with the federal unit, Social Security, another thing for foreigners. It seems to be like directly just for it. A lot of people can't get through to it. Anyways, I don't know why it did that. 1 second, guys. Where I'm experienced. I keep saying we, I. Seeing if the antivirus is the problem. Okay, can you guys hear me? Good morning, Geo. All right, so no, our antivirus we believe also is clashing. Surfshark, we've used it for several years. We legitly believe in that stuff. It catches anything, and it's kind of like George, catches everything. So, yeah, so that's what's going on in the coverage of Social Security and yeah. Good morning, Second Wind. And this, like I said, is an open Q&A. I'll answer the best that I can. We slowed down on expat help because it changes so much, and then you got people bitching and complaining, well, oh, that came out a long time ago, and everybody's an expert, and now you have experts that are double experts out there. And it's just oversaturated. Everything's oversaturated on the vloggers knowing everything. And when we start covering during the pandemic, there's probably a dozen people covering anything dealing with like news, expat help, and all that. And we're like, oh, okay, that'd be great while we're in Mexico to talk about what's going on, and then coming to the Philippines and all that. And now here it is, a million people are covering it. So we slowed down and we just pretty much decided to do our live streams based on our life here and just what's going on. And you guys are pretty much, we're just reality TV now. Reality comedy TV, guys. And so, but every now and then when something like this comes up that's dealing with me being on Social Security, and by the way, George qualifies for Social Security. He was in the US for 27 years. He was legal. He had the status, and we double checked before we even left. As long as it's still available by the time he turns, I believe, 62, then he'll go ahead and apply. But and a lot of people, oh, he's not a citizen. That's not going to happen. No, he actually still gets it. He paid in. He did all that stuff. If they don't change any rules, as of right now, he hit the checks. We went in. We discussed it with Social Security office when I went in and discussed coming here, because I don't get the free welfare Social Security as some people think. I paid into it since I was 16, and so it ain't high, but it's close to 2,000. I've never went through the amounts, but yeah. So it's not a total low end. I think they said the average is 1,800 a month, 17, 18 on average, and I'm a little over that. It's early, isn't it? Present. Hey, what's going on? Chosen One is in the house. Good morning, Sarah. Hi, Mary. I was going to put on your little helmet. You want to say hi? We found her snowman outfit. You want to say hi? Say hi, everybody. Say hi. Oh, Mary. Thank you. Thank you for the hug. All right, now. And stop barking. We had an electrician here yesterday. Quite interesting. So the electrician that came the last time, he ran an extra plug in the bathroom. So we had another part of another breaker put in there to accommodate a hot water heater and to accommodate, like if I used a hair dryer or something in there for Mary so it doesn't blow a plug or do something crazy. It is simply amazing that this place has been here for 20 plus years and nobody ever put any plugs in that bathroom. Like we were running a cable that was strong enough to the outside, and it was like it didn't make any sense. And maybe that's what other people did, but nobody took the time to put. There is little to no plugs in this house. I think there's only like 2 in the living room, and they're in odd places. But actually, I think altogether it was under $60 for 2 different plugs, the line, the breaker thing, and something else he did. But that included everything, the lines and everything. And that included the tip and everything. So really inexpensive. Hey, what's going on? Hey, TJ. Hey, Lackaspod, good morning. That's good to hear. Hey, MB, good morning. And I did want to say that we appreciate everybody reaching out. George will be back tomorrow. That we appreciate everybody reaching out in regards to his dad passing away and people's generosity. We've received donut money, pizza money, and George to go to a hotel and get some sleep. Just kidding. But we appreciate everybody reaching out and their prayers and thoughts and everything. So very much appreciated. That's real. It was really hard. It was unexpected for me. And yeah, be good. It was really unexpected because that would explain why the last month or 2 he's been really shut down. But it also shows the side where he holds everything in, and he doesn't share as much. It almost seemed like when we met, he was super secretive on things. He didn't let me in on nothing. So I don't like that part of it because it's some sort of trust thing. Some people say he's just quiet and being private, but I'm his wife. And so he should, but it's little things that he does that with too. So it was a shock to me. I figured a few more years. I knew there was some issues, and he went to go stay at the family home, and then he just came in and he was like, he passed, and I was like, it just hit me like a ton of bricks for his dad passing away. And but that would explain some of his moodiness. Now, I'm not saying he's not going through menopause or something, but it explained a lot. And we've been spending super quality time together, and he's opened up a lot more things that I didn't even know really that have been going on for a few years. So I'm like, well, okay, this kind of explains. So, but yeah, he'll be back in tomorrow. This morning, he's over at the family house. So surprisingly, he got up. Going to Manila Embassy. What you going there for, Second Win? I have a mailbox and have yet to get paper Morocco bill. Yeah, we get the water and electric bill hung on the fence the same way. And see, the reason we haven't put a box out there is, like George said, it just makes another target. And the um, people will, including some of the drivers that deliver food, groceries, they'll try to hang stuff on the mailbox outside. And so we have a sign out front of our house, but George says if we put it out there, the kids will just rip it down. And I kind of believe him with some of the stuff the kids do in the neighborhood. So and nobody else has one. I haven't seen one box hanging on anybody's door or gate here in this neighborhood. Actually, I don't think it's really super common. They're supposed to walk into, whether it's an establishment or house, they've gotten our attention before, but I'd probably say that that's probably the fourth item I've received letter wise. We've received FedEx incoming, where we've had credit cards, like the debit cards from the bank accounts that we used to have in the United States, and that's about it. And so, but so far they've handed anything to us except for the Philippines is not known for handling mail or packages in a respectable manner. Yeah, this one left it. We know the other one was the neighbor because he actually brought it to us, which is weird because we have our number marked on the front of our gate, but yet they still gave it 3 doors down because these look like townhouses. So we have one bedroom, we have a 2 bedroom, 2 bath, one bathroom upstairs, and we have the one downstairs. And that's why we had the plug put in here so we could have the hot water heater down here, because I can only get up and down the stairs about once or twice a day if I have to. And so it was great to have him install that plug. And the neighbor, where am I going with this? The neighbor did that, and yesterday we believe it was just a mailman that just left it in the rain. So kind of got distracted there. So a lot of things going on, guys. It's early a.m. Hey, tomorrow's 9/11. Yeah, and yes, did I keep Part A? The answer is yes. I had to look that up. So, and as always, guys, if you're needing to find something out in this day and age, I would do your due diligence. You can look it up. You can call. I know it's hard when you call anywhere in the world now, whether you're calling the embassy here or there. I would double and triple check. That's what I've always done. I just don't go by a YouTube channel. I just don't go by what AI says, especially AI. AI grabs information from multiple places, or actually will say that it doesn't exist at all. And I'll have to tell our AI through Gemini, I'll say something and they're like, well, no, that didn't happen. I'm like, dude, it is. It's in the news and it's real, and it's in other news, and it's on the government website. And they'll be like, yeah, that doesn't exist. And so you have to check yourself, guys. But yeah, and we're no experts here. We're just everyday life. What's going on? Good morning. Geo is in the house. I have to watch your budget video there in Thailand. So, because we get a lot of, besides why you're not traveling, or, why didn't you go to another Asian country? Um, it's because, my husband is Filipino. We're not going to go somewhere else. And a lot of people are like, well, you bitch so much about the country, and you're not really promoting it. Well, that's not what I came here for. I came here to just live. It wasn't like, I had no idea, even in a, small sense, what it would be like to actually live here long term and go through here. But I thought about it, I'm like, it's because this is where his family is. This is where he was born and raised. This is, you know, but a lot of people are leaving the Philippines because it's a death by a thousand cuts, literally. So many different little things, and they find things to be cheaper, higher quality, bang for the buck, fresher food, all kinds of different things when they go to other Asian countries. And that I would say that the Philippines is big time developing. And I have found in the last 5 years there's a lot of good that has improved and a lot of things that are going downhill. So, yeah. So I thought about Gio's video. I wanted to see that, but shoot, that's what they keep saying, Thailand or Vietnam or something. Now, I don't know. Someone mentioned Cambodia long term, because I was like, maybe I could just take George and we could just go to another Asian country. And I'm like, no, this is his home place. It's like if I listened to people chatting in your ears and stuff, we'd be living in Vietnam right now. But like George said, like Mexico, we would have stayed. Then we're both foreigners. The language barrier was like 98% against me. At least 50-50 here I can communicate, because that's also over exaggerated how many people speak English. So, yeah, SS is not welfare. You paid into that. Yeah, because there is, and there are people that are here on it. There are the people just on just SSI. That is the one given. And I know they got low end amounts of Social Security that people paid in because of their jobs, but these people specifically are. They're letting their mail go to the US. Somehow, some way, they don't know they're here, and they are on the low end trying to live over here on that. But yeah, that's been shouted a few times by people about, oh, you're just on welfare, sucking off the government. I'm like, oh, no, I don't think so. Good morning. I can't see. Good, good, good. Hey, Ruby. Good morning. Our Philippine journey is in the house. Good morning, Mike and Arlen. Mike, don't speak Spanish around Ruby. She gets jealous. Just got my water bill and placed inside the mailbox. Yeah, we even thought about getting one of those doorbell things that's got the camera. We've already got cameras, but we thought we'd get one up close because there's a distance between the door and the gate. And then, like you said, we're just, we had one of those when we first moved in, and they kept taking the batteries out. We lived a couple streets from Walking Street in an oversized house. We had done the Airbnb thing. They kept taking the batteries. We'd buy new ones, put them in. People would go by in the night and just take the batteries out. And so it's kind of out there. So, good morning. USA is a mess. There's a lot going on. There's a lot. I mean, I still love my country. George has adult kids that are over there. I do. Sisters, brothers, his family. His dad's side of the family is over in California, and it's disturbing. It's no longer a situation where people can turn a blind eye, but they are, and they will, because it's so politically divided. And I thought about that, those that, they don't want to mess up their social media. They don't want to mess with their friends. They're busy working. So then it all just gets dismissed until it affects their household. And I'm telling you, by Christmas, something majorly is going to dump upside down. I think in the next 60 days, something's going to fall upside down. And I'm really concerned for his family. Jokes aside, I don't have a lot of brown people in my family. I'm just saying. Let me be a little bit more politically correct. I'm probably the whitest person in my family, but the rest of them are. So now I do have nieces and nephews that do look Hispanic because they are mixed. But for the most part, looking foreign. Nobody looks more Spanish than the Filipinos over there, so I'm concerned on that manner. But it's, a lot of good, a lot of bad, but anymore it's just getting to be crazier. So I'd agree it's a mess. I did ask water service and electricity service provider if I could receive my bills via email and not a paper bill. However, I was told that option is not available. We are getting currently, I believe we're getting our electric bill through Pelco. Let me see. I believe it is them. And the water one, yes. So we are getting it. Pelco 2 is now doing it. The weird part is it says total amount due for the account. It does give like the actual account number, but it doesn't give the reference number to pay it afterwards. So I'm assuming you would have to give the account number. I don't even think I can even use this to pay inside of SM or one of those other places where you can pay all the bills, because there is nothing to go with it. I think I'd physically have to go to Pelco itself, and that can be about an hour wait. So we still get the other one and just pay it when it comes in. And guys, shout out where you're from today and let me know what's going on with you guys. Here we are, waiting in on the Christmas season. Still can't believe. Oh, by the way, the last 2 nights, the carolers have been here. So George is like, God damn. He's just like, he's like, God damn it. And I just started laughing, and you could hear him up the street because they come with a full drum, the bells. And he was like, wow, we're 9 days in and here they come. The problem is George said this year, he goes, don't give him nothing till the very end, because I started to get up. I said, oh, it's the beginning. Let me give something. George goes, sit down. He said, because I like get all excited. And he said, just, he goes, because they'll be here, and they will. They'll be here every day till December. And so, yes, the carolers are coming through the neighborhood. And if you give them something now, they don't get that hint. They will keep stopping and they'll stand in front of your gate. And I'm like, knock on wood, we haven't seen the kids a bunch. And we gave them, Ted had sent us like a box of lollipops. We got our last Billy Buy-in box a couple months ago. And we've been slowly handing them out. Now, he had sent an oversized box of pencils. We were able to give them to a local school, which they were so happy. We had some pens and everything we dropped off. But the lollipops, we figured we'd start saving and just give them to the kids, because there wasn't enough to give to the school. And so surprisingly, they did not come back. It was, I thought they would hit us up every day since. So the kids are getting older. We've already been here for a couple years and they're growing up. Good morning, Joseph. What is going on? Yeah, and Cavite, the Divine Grace Medical Center, has decent health medical services in the Philippines. There's a lot of good medical in the Philippines. Here we have Clark and everything. There's a lot of good facilities. But if you would hear people that have the ability to leave the country and go to another Asian country for something bigger, they would. People say they go to Singapore and some of the other Asian countries to get some major medical, and a lot of the rich Filipinos will leave the country to go get medical. But they are improving. So, is this live about Social Security? Yes, yeah. Max SS is 27 at 62. Mine is at 2600. That is awesome. Yeah, mine's close to 2 right now. But I think they said average is 17, 18 now, which that kind of blows my mind, because I don't know how it can be averaged out to people collecting, because not everybody, they go by the last working quarters and everything. And again, it's just, Yeah, I don't know. It's not coming up, but somewhere along that. Yeah, pretty much death by a thousand cuts. Not even kidding. I believe I heard that on Geo with one of the interviews, and it's true. And if I could use that in a thumbnail and get away with it and make $4 for the live stream, I would. But everything goes right back into the channel. And so it is basically that. I've been in the Middle East, and Egypt was really rotten. I'm talking about rotten, rotten, rotten. I can't. I'll never forget the day I showed up in Egypt. It was dirt roads. I was dragging my luggage through mud when it started raining. From the airport in Cairo to the family home I was going to took hours to get to it, and it was crazy there, and you could see the poverty there big time, but people were so happy. But overall, the Philippines, I've, you know, you can't really count Canada and going into Mexico. Mexico did prepare me for being here. Um, and I've been to a lot of places, Belize, down at the bottom of Miami in Florida, but nothing prepared me for the way the Philippines was and the poverty and all the different things. It is death by a thousand cuts, because just as you start to get used to this, then something else happens. Now I understand why the people are kind of numb, or it's like, and it explains to me why George is like that. It's kind of like nothing bothers George till it gets down to the last minute. And for us Western expats, it's like, what's that? Who's that? What the hell is really going on? And we have little to no patience most of the time, truth. And for the Filipinos here, it's always a smile. You know, and I think that passiveness passes off in everything, the way they drive, the way streets, throwing trash out, all these different things that happen. And all these expats and returning home Filipinos, that are, in denial that it's culture or the person or whatever. It seems to be, you know, I live here. I'm seeing it firsthand, how it's kind of like, if I see a baby go down the street right now in a diaper that's 2 years old and there's no parent for a little bit, I'm not going to bother to go out there anymore, because there's a parent that's somewhere that's letting them do it. You can't save every animal. You can't save every kid here. You can't. You just have to let people, if they're out there fighting and punching each other in the face, you got to let it happen situation. But you just get, like, oh, it's just another day in paradise situation. So you adjust, I guess. And I'm 5 years in, short of somebody screwing around with my air conditioning. I don't care what else falls apart. I don't care what the inside, outside of my house looks like, who's throwing trash in the front yard. I just do me now. I do me, I do George, and take care of my animals, because you can't change things. The Philippines will change you before you change it. So you just get to that point, it's just like, just where it is. Doesn't matter how many how many coats of paint that I put on this country or on my house, or blinders I put on. It ain't gonna change nothing. I'm gonna tell you that right now, big time. Not gonna change. I'm appreciative that that we've been able to come this far, and that things have been going pretty decent, and knock on wood, the health has been good for the both of us for the most part, and just happy to wake up and be alive situation. That's pretty much what you have to live with, especially over the age of 50. Hey, good morning, Raymond. What's going on? Hey, Sperlin, what is going on? From La Pita, and is it Antique? That was Antique. Last night, our car, oh man, was dead and needed replacement. Was surprised that it was only 18-month warranty. Get back home, yeah, 6. Yeah, that's another thing, is that, although we find that certain electronics and certain items are cheap, some will last forever. Like, we got a speaker here. It would have been $50 in the US easy. And I think we paid 18 for it. So far, we've had it for about 2 years, but we kind of figure it'll kick out here in a little bit. So it's kind of like you're getting what you pay for situation on some items, or like you have the warranty. It's not. It's like everything is coming from China situation. So, well, it's like that in the U.S., but George said it's a different quality level of what's sent over there and kept here. But I get it. Yeah. Yeah, because I noticed that on it's off track on that situation. I notice here also, like when I first got here, I was buying all kinds of sugary items and all the stuff for the boba teas and this, and I'm like, oh wow, well back in the U.S., if I got a big jar of the bobals or the fruit that goes in the teas and all that, I'm like, man, that would cost me $30 for a jar of that. And then I realize it's dirt cheap here to get it, and I'm like, yeah, but some of the quality was lower on it, and there's a lot of companies selling it, and you just have to kind of pricing is up there. Yeah, that's a reasonable SS in the Philippines, but not back in the US. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about because he's talking in US dollars, so it's not reasonable to live on, even if you get the max on social. But I thought the max was higher than that. But nobody's getting Social Security like that in the Philippines, so I'm not sure. No, the Part A, yeah, of course. I'll just deal with it if I ever go back. I doubt it. So then we're in another thing. We used to get Phil Health a while back. We stopped it because everything was within a self-pay situation, and we are in our early 50s. And then I told George probably here in a year or two we'll get at least that because I'm uninsurable. And George is starting to get like that too himself. He has a couple medical issues he's not addressing. And so um he's not addressing. But I would say his heart's probably worse than mine. George lived on energy drinks. Let's just put that he wasn't really eating when I met him, and he was drinking that red line. And red line was like liquid fuel. It's the one where you drink half the little bottle. They probably still sell it. We actually both were. And so it just wasn't good. His blood pressure was always over 200, and it still is. So he has medical issues. But we'll be dealing with getting some form of insurance, if not it's self-pay, which is not recommended. Always recommended if you can afford it and get it and you're young enough to get it. On the other hand, I do want to reiterate that they have officially, we discussed this before, that they're doing that digital nomad visa. It came back up in the news recently, and it looks like they put the official information. So when we talked about it the last time, it said that they were coming up with whether this would be done, that would be done. 24,000 a year is the income that you need to make. And there's a lot. If you're a lot of the guys are not meeting that 2,000 a month situation. So being a YouTuber, not many people are going to be making that 2 grand, 3 grand a month, to actually meet the guidelines to do that. Plus you have to have the health insurance, and it's 1 year at a time up to 2. So I guess you renew up to 2 times. And again, they also reiterated that you will owe your taxes back to your country at that point. That doesn't normally apply if you come here and you're a permanent resident. And I'm not going to get too much into the tax thing, but it's just indicating that if you work in the Philippines, you pay the taxes in the Philippines if it's dealing with like a job here or something. And usually it includes YouTubers and social media people, because you're recording here, you're editing in this country. It's not just, hey, it's an online thing and I already pay my taxes. But look that up yourselves and go through all of that. That is our experience. So, but with the digital nomad, 24,000 is the income to get the digital nomad. And then you have to prove the job that you actually have. And they're saying you can't work here. That's not a work permit to actually work here. So the visa will include that you can work inside the country on your online job, but you have to prove all of that. So they're claiming it was approved a few months ago, but they're just bringing it back into the news. Again, look that up. Giving to the carolers should be from December onwards. Yeah, no, they're ever since we've been in this. I believe this is our 4th Christmas at this location, and it's every year, right? I'm surprised it took them 9 days to get down here. And I'll never forget the first time in the Philippines when George was like, turn off the lights. And I was like, what's going on? And I had no idea what the bell was. I just wouldn't have thought when I was trying to understand the Burr months when I first got here, you would just hear, ching, 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 and you hear, don't, 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 don't. And George said, turn off the lights because they'll never leave the front of the house situation. And sure enough, it's what's been going on. It wasn't bad at our other apartment that we had because we were kind of more enclosed, like behind an actual full like door where you couldn't even see in, but he still did because people used to look in the cracks. Like you would have the carolers look through the cracks to see if you're in there. Like very persuasive, very forward, very ballsy, as I would call it. And no, no, yeah. So that's kind of where it is. Okay, yeah. In New Jersey, you would need 6,000. And here's the thing, we told you guys, like if you guys look at some of our onward videos, it shows the multiple cars we had out front, and then it shows, we had the swimming pool out back of the house. We still kept the apartment, and we, not including business expenses. Yeah, some months, like when we were going to concerts and camping and buying things, we didn't even hold back anytime we went into a Walmart or a Target or went into Publix or these stores. We just bought whatever. So yeah, we was going through about 5 grand a month. So we just spent how we wanted. But we weren't, honestly, that wasn't even considered rich. We weren't like going to Europe. We weren't, I mean, if we had to replace a transmission all of a sudden, that kind of dinged us a little bit situation. But it's really costly to live. I'm not even sure how our kids even get by. Yeah, Clark has a really good hospital. Hey guys, the cats. Our car here is also parked under a covered carport. Our other place did. That's nice that you actually have it. Not everybody has that. We had where we put that big, like a lot of people do. They put the oversized tarp, but with the wind and rain and sun, they're gone in 2 months. So we were spending like $30 on a cover every couple months, and I like that's just going to keep adding up to a couple hundred. And I was like, no. And George was like, for the most part, it's to protect the animals too. But the trike out there, and we were starting to pull the car in. Now Willie just goes under the tarp that's on the e-trike, and he lays under the trike, and then some of the cats will go inside and sleep. So we call it an an expensive doghouse. Basically, is what the trike. We use it all the time, but it's basically just they all get in there when it's raining. It's kind of cute. Well, not cute, but cute at the same time. In California with my Filipino wife. Hey, Christopher. Recent green card. Life is great. That is awesome. We are enjoying traveling in the U.S. and looking forward to visiting the Philippines in November, but returning to the U.S. Yeah, I guess that's just me being paranoid and getting older and all that. I just don't know how I'm, I don't know. I guess it's just, I'm actually happy that you're actually that's great that you got the green card and everything. I would just be concerned with everything going on over there with anybody foreign. But here's the thing, you cannot stop living. That part. Believe me, you guys understand, I understand both sides. I know it seems like, backpedaling or, trying to play both sides. No, I actually see both sides of everything. And I understand also. It's just not for me to at this time with what's going on. But I'm actually happy that you got the green card. That is really great. Hey, my favorite guy is in the house. One of the bad things about living abroad during some of the prime years of your life is that you're not contributing much to SS. Yeah, during those years, there are pros and cons to everything. Yes, when people are under the Social Security age or under the actual age of where they're building their 401ks or their pensions. Me and George would have had multi pensions had a lot of things not happen. It was called life. We invested in businesses and different adventures. I had several surgeries that were not paid for by insurance after I lost the weight and went through the money really quick. And I even went through the infertility thing because my one husband knew I couldn't have kids, and I reversed and took a bunch of money out for that. And because I was trying to save the marriage situation. So I blew through a lot of it. And I feel stupid now, like a lot of people do in relationships and mistakes of buying, houses and insurance didn't pay when they burned down situation, or houses fell apart or their lives fell apart or whatever. But yes, that is crazy, and it blows my mind because there's one or two subjects we want to cover tomorrow. And one of them that I want to cover is, I think it was Sunshine Shoulders. I'll have to find out who did the interview, but it blew my mind. The guy is here, and I just noticed he just had a baby. He's, of course, a YouTuber. He just had a baby. He just left a family back in the US and got out of a divorce, but I think he said he came here with less than 1,500. I think it was Sunshine Shoulders that just covered that story. And he came with less than X amount. So another one that left and came here with little to no money, but he's got a new family. So I'm like, God damn, it's kind of like Mark Thornton's situation. I just can't see it. And the guy's not a spring chicken, but he's under 50. So which means he's got like 12 years. So what are you doing? And he shows his life in the US, and it was not peachy. I mean, it looks like he had a van out at the house or a trailer. And so he didn't appear to be of money. So, yeah, how are you going to build your life at that point? Like continue to add into your Social Security and not be stuck with some really low end amounts. So, yeah. And yeah, that is a very bad, especially the digital nomad visa people. Yes, they got to be making 24,000 or more, but some of them are coming over that are not involved in having to show that, and they're doing some online teaching here and there. They're just getting by situation, and that is scary too. Yeah, him saying hi to our Philippine journey. Mhm. Ruby was talking about just visited Clark Medical Center the other day because hubby injured. Oh, his big, ouch. Like really painful. Service was quick and satisfying. Yeah, I love Clark Medical. The offices over there charge 1,200 pesos. Oh yeah, of course. That's on average for me. The only thing that gets to cost me money, and we have online doctors. Like we're with a company. Let me see, because we can do online. Let me see. I'm gonna pull it up here. I don't know if you guys can still see me. It's called Now Serving, and it's about 20 or $30. You get to choose different doctors. I had to find it online serving, and it's they even send the medicines over to the pharmacies and stuff. Really great. So, and you get to choose the doctors. It'll say where they're at, and if they send you for blood work, that's probably about the only thing that gets to be costly. And even then, it's a fraction, probably a quarter of what it would be in the U.S. So, by the time if I had to do all my copays for my medications, it would cost what I'm probably paying cash here for my medicines. And then if you do blood work, I think when I left years ago, I was like some of the copays were like $30, $40. Um, you're getting into that range, $40, 50 maybe, depending on what blood work and tests they're wanting to have you done. No, but it's the big things that'll actually cost you. But that's really great. I love Clark. Mark says, OPG, I work for a living. For people like me, max Social Security is mentioned 27. No, I agree. Out of stock, it bothers me. What is it? Somebody said the Filipinos say another thing. They don't say out of stock. They got another saying for it. What was that, guys? Yeah, it does. It does. And it's not only the grocery stores, it's restaurants, and some of their it really surprises me at certain places that are chicken. They're actually out of certain types of like chicken, or we're not. I get the seasoning might be available. They say it's because here's the thing. Do you guys feel it's because like what I feel, they just don't organize, the managers aren't organizing to get it ordered, or do you really believe it's out of stock from the other companies? Because I think it's mismanagement and I think it's the passiveness. I call it passiveness or I don't give a shit attitude that actually gets it non-ordered. I think it's a little bit of both. But for the most part, it's available. Reason being is, for example, like there are 8 McDonald's in a short period of place here, and you'll find some have this and some have that, and it's like either, I I don't get it. I understand one store will sell more than the other, but let's just give an example that they're doing the honey chicken, the honey mustard chicken, which they don't have. But if they do something like that and half the stores have it, yeah, they could be selling more, but usually the trucks come through like they do in the United States, deliver whatever. They're not ordering enough. Is it because they really are out of stock? Are they trying to push other items? Like George said, but yeah, the out of stock thing can get really crazy. It takes a special person to live in the Philippines, right? I'm trying to get my pockets right to live in Europe. Where are you going to go in Europe? They got Euro trash over there, Chosen One. Go sit down, Chosen One. Go sit somewhere. Cause no, I don't. No. Stay in Asia, man. Stay in Asia. So, God, have you guys seen Europe though? Like Germany and the UK. There was some guy that returned back to the UK, and that fentanyl ain't no joke there either, or the foreigners, or all this stuff, and the street beggars, Germany and France, and all Europe's falling apart too. And there's like an uprising now over that. So I don't know. If you'd have said Europe in the 90s, man, I'd have been like, let's go, Chosen One, to come by and get me, and we going to go. We going to leave George and stuff. But now it's just like, I just want my AC and some donuts, man. I just, all I need is my donuts and me and George and the cats and this dog. That's it. I don't care about anything else. That's it. My donuts and my pets, my George, my back. It's just I don't know. I'm just kind of out there, but I'm just getting to be so basic. When I got here, although I didn't have money, I felt a little bougie, and it was like, oh God, if I don't get AC, I'm gonna die. And why can't I find a decent salon? And why can't I find decent food? And we got to get up out of here. I can't live here. And I was, but didn't have a ton of money. It's not like I was uber rich, like, like a millionaire situation. And now I'm just like, if I just have AC and a donut today and sit with my man, that's all I need. But if you'd asked me 5 years ago, I'd have just been all over the place. But adjustment, man, adjustment. But just forget about Europe. Just forget about it. Hey, Gary, I just turned 63 3 days ago, and my SS is more than 1,000, over 2,700. Yeah, 1 second here. What is the max on Social Security for the United States? According to this, and again, I can only go by this, I thought it was higher than that amount. 4,800. According to this, 4,800. Let me go directly to Social Security. All right, so directly at Social Security, because Mark, I think you mentioned what the max was. Social Security says the max benefits is 4,018. That's directly on their site. Now, however, if you retire at 62, it could be the 2831. I'm talking about like people that go to the full retirement. So, okay, so you're talking about at that age. If you retire at 70, your max benefits could be, it says 5108. So actually, if you're at 70, it's 5108. So it can be up there. So that's what it's reading here. If you retire at full retirement age, 4,018. If you retire at 62, full max is 2,831. If you wait to 70, the max is 5,108. So what is the average check for Social Security for Americans? Okay. I thought I had seen this before. Okay, and looking it up on the site, 1,861. Yeah, see, mine's under 2. It's in between that, not much more. Because I had not worked for years when I actually applied. So, but they did go by where I had actually previously worked. Just reading a few things here. Yeah, so 1,800. Yeah, that's maybe about right what I hear. That will be an interesting change. If you're talking about, for those that are joining right now, today's topic is that the proof of life letters, I put it all in the description. There is no outgoing packages or any mail. Some people were mailing their proof of life letter. That is required by the average person that's on Social Security to keep in touch. With Social Security, you fill out the paperwork. It's mailed in every year. Now, some people were waiting for it and then never got it. They don't file, they lose their checks. You have to reapply and go through all that stuff. It has happened. And it was happening a lot they had stopped during the pandemic, by the way. We came in the height of the pandemic here, and a lot of them didn't even receive it. And then all at once, towards the end, when the country reopened, they started it back up again. The proof of life is required. Most people that are proactive sent it in anyways. Most of them were FedExing or DHLing it over to the United States directly to the office. They were having family members do it. Now, here's the thing. For the ones that say they have not received it, it means you're not doing things right, which means when you leave the United States, it says you're supposed to. They won't say, oh, you're going to jail if you don't do it. You're supposed to contact Social Security, as I have, and say, hey, I'm living overseas. You inform them you're living overseas. At that point, you give them your address and everything else. Now, these guys will not do this by having it sent to a daughter's house, a granddaughter's house. And most of these guys don't own a second house to say, hey, I live in both places. Now, if you live 6 months in the United States and you do that thing, you go back and forth, then maybe at that point you would. But when you're permanently here on a permanent residency and you guys are living here long term, or those that are renewing their visas, then you're actually living here. You should tell Social Security. Then at that point, you'd be getting those letters. To avoid all of this, you have other vloggers that'll tell you, don't tell them you're here. You don't do all of that. You don't get the letter, and they'll just think you're in the US, have everything sent to your bank in the US, and avoid all of that. Yeah, pretty much the information. But by technical law, you should be letting them know that you're here. And you should also register with the embassy. And so I'm also registered with the embassy in case of emergencies also. They know I am. Same with immigration. Here I am. And so it's just one of those things you'd want to do. It's just another thing you have to do. It's the right thing, because here's the thing for the dumbasses that are following the ones that say just do it all over there and don't worry about it. First off, mail gets mixed up in the US. Then you got family that just ain't goddamn paying attention over there. Your shit gets mixed up. The banks go down. Do you know how many guys recently where their bank accounts go down and their Social Security goes down? They're not getting any help for anybody over there. That's a lot of these homeless guys here. And it's a lot of guys where these things will happen. So you kind of want to take care of the whole thing yourself and kind of avoid. That's up to you if you guys want to roll the dice. Doing the right thing, and what is required is that you tell Social Security that you're here. You fill those papers out. Not everybody is required, so you'll know if you do. If you're saying you didn't get it there's the biggest thing is because you're telling them you're in the United States, then you won't get it overseas. So it's the ones that the embassy knows are here. It's the ones that Social Security knows you're here, and you want to do that because you don't want to fuck up your check, man. That's the bottom line. Do not leave it in your family members' hands that can turn on you, or that it gets lost, or they're busy working or out having picnics without you. Just do the right thing and avoid all that. So that's why you ain't getting a letter. Besides that, you're going to get a letter here. And then now you're to turn it into the FBU unit in Manila and check to do it online. And you can just do it online now. So I put all that information inside there. This is something that wasn't possible the last couple of years. Now I have my Social Security deposited here. I started that a few months ago because it's easier that way. I'm getting tired of replacing cards that take forever, and it's a lot easier to deal with it here. But the deal is when I go in, it is not on a debit card anymore. It's a manual go in situation. So I have to go in, and I have to show my passport. But initially, they told me I needed to show a newspaper showing today's date, and I'm like, yeah, like this, and I have to take a photo, but now they just have me hold up the receipt. And so basically it's a passport book. So that account. Now I have other accounts. George has multiple accounts in his name. I have multiple accounts. I have the Social Security account. It's totally separate. I have debit cards to the other ones. George has debit cards, and we have joint accounts together at the same bank, and we have one at Metro. So that's PNB and Metro. It doesn't matter where you go, what bank. I don't give a shit who you say you are. All of them are passbook that doesn't have a card to it if you have direct deposit now for Social Security here. So you have to show, let's see, I got it in my backpack, so it's not in range to show you the book. But basically, it just looks like one of those old books that they used to stamp initially in the United States. So I prefer it. It's been easy. I like being able to go in there and get the change because, like, if I was withdrawing from our other accounts, we were just getting all thousands out of the ATM, and then we were transferring money from the US and paying fees. Now I don't have to pay those fees. It was costing money to keep doing it that way. Some of the debit fees, because we don't, everybody's like, oh, well, you can save the money by getting certain accounts. Well, it's too late. We're already here. I'm not going to get a credit union or this, and that, or go into this account. We already had accounts set up in the US. I was losing over $60 a month. That's just where our bank was. That was the cost. That's how it was. And that was a regular bank in the US. And that was Wells Fargo. And now I don't have to pay that. So alone, I'm saving $60 a month from using the international fees of paying on that card, from transfers, from just withdrawals from the ATM, about 60 a month. So what is that? 700 and something a year, 800. Hello. So I was like, screw that. Heidi wants the 800. Shit, that's a couple outings, and not a couple nice outings on top of that. So yeah, so I did transfer. It did take a little bit. Same thing. Contact the FB unit in the email that's inside of the description and tell them that you want to transfer. It was that easy. All of it worked that easy. You fill the form out, you send it in to them. They'll confirm if you can, because not everybody can do that. Not everybody is qualified. I don't know for what reason. They said they'd have to pre-qualify me, and it did, and done. Now, it's a little different with the bank itself, how that works. So, because there was an approval from them, then they needed to see the email where the embassy said I was approved, and then they needed something else afterwards. So, I don't know, it took about 2 weeks to get it going, but it took less than 2 months, and 2 months also, give or take, to have that removed on my insurance from my monthly amount. And guys, you can always contact us at philippineantics@gmail. We are on Facebook, on Messenger. And so if you just put Philippine Antics in anything, it's going to come up. And so Philippine Antics will lead you. We have 2 pages on Facebook. People, our regulars are contacting us on Messenger. We can answer questions. That we're still doing. We never stopped helping people. We just where it is. Sorry, Ruby. Home service for car battery, Moto Light. 4,200 replacement. Oh, that is awesome. I just seen an ad for that. Isn't that weird? But you are on my Facebook. Yeah, because I started receiving, but I was like, I wonder if that they're actually interesting, Modalite. I wonder if that's linked by any means. Gotta love when advertisement comes up when people use products. Did you look that up on the internet or Modalite? Start collecting at 62. Yeah, that's what George is going to do. Yeah, max is 5,100. Yes, thanks. Hey, what's going on? I applied for Pacific Cross, but they excluded everything I wanted for the insurance, so I am self-insuring. Have to, based on my lupus alone. Let's put it this way: based on my size. Okay, never hid that I'm a really big girl. Okay, I'm not the 600-pound life, but I'm the American plus size. I can still buy at Walmart. Okay, but I'm still plus size. I can still buy clothes here. I buy shorts and little what I call moo-moos, like the light cotton shirts and stuff, and the little dresses. And so, I mean, but I'm still more than 50 pounds overweight. So that disqualifies you by itself. And I'm sorry, there's a lot of big guys here. I'm going to tell you that. Same bitches bitching about me got their own problems they're deflecting on. And so size and being overweight will. Then you add in the lupus where everything's affected. My lupus is really a kicker on insurance. And then um, I have asthma, anemia, I have skin cancer. I have my whole right leg's been destroyed by a spider bite. So there's little to no circulation in my right leg. So even like when I met George, I was only so much overweight at that time. It's hard. Just my leg by itself had damage. And so standing long term hurt, walking actually hurt. And so and I need knee replacement. So that was from years of nursing and standing. Working private one-on-one in homes is what I did for the most part. That's working at factories, which I did. Like I worked at an assembly line in Kansas City, Missouri. And so there's just been a lot of standing jobs. So knees are gone. So with all of this, you're telling them all this stuff. The lupus by itself and the skin cancer they're just not going to. And then you start going by age. A lot of guys have medical issues. And I've always talked to people about my medical issues. And I have several others that I won't go into that are really bad off that qualify me for the Social Security. There's no way. That was a no, no, and no. And I have talked to Pacific Cross. We have a link for Michael Onstad. We highly recommend that man because he will find it for you, him and his staff, the best out there. I'm going to tell you that right now. I love this man. He's very personable. And we don't get, it's not a promotion. He's not giving us a discount. We don't get paid for it. We just know he does his job. And as long as I've known, like since we've been doing this, he's been the one guy out there that I know that can get it done. So definitely, but if it can be done, but a lot of people do not. But if he can figure out where he can get you the insurance and stuff. Hey, Bookham, Dano, hi guys, and Panay. But the biggest reason that I do the channel, especially when you don't see George these days, is that you guys are our people. And we want you to have information. We don't want to script this shit. I was going to sit down and do this video and go through, and I had this stuff written down. I started reading. I tried 3 times to record it. I said, I'm just not into this shit anymore. There's so many people putting out this fake, oh, good morning. I would like to talk to you today about what's going on with Social Security. You even got bitches in America now over there that are living in America. And we're not talking about like a little bit. We're talking about Filipinos. We're talking about Americans that are giving you this information. And I'm like, and it's so scripted, so coldly done. And I'm like, I just can't do this shit anymore. But I want you guys to know this stuff is out there. And like George said, I'm like, well, George, people already talked about this. And he says, yeah, but our people don't. And he goes, and they want to hear it with you and they like to come in and talk. And I said, yeah, that's why we like doing the live streams and everything. But we appreciate you guys being out there. That's the biggest thing. And like right now, I go through a lot. Like it's a lot harder living here as a female expat. It's a lot harder living here more than people know as an expat, period. And when you're dating or married to a Filipino, sometimes it's hard to communicate. Sometimes it's hard to express. and you do feel utterly alone. And it does give me a chance to talk with you guys, and it just it's really nice all the way around. Is why I actually do the live streams. So probably should do more of them. I just get afraid with the algorithm that it'll kill the algorithm if we do, every time something comes up. But we're just glad you guys are there. I'm going to check something out here. I cannot see. I don't know why. Some stuff missing on the live stream. I'm surprised. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like some of the comments are missing. Usually they put them all up here. Hey, Cindy is in the house. Yeah, because I don't want to, for some reason, it doesn't let me on this app. Cindy is in the house. That's the FB unit at Manila Embassy. Yeah. Our Philippine journey. There are 2 or 3 people that are missing. That's what me and George keeps discussing, and that's what I muted the last time. There are several people of our regular that are not showing up on the stream, so I can't put but I can see you here. That's the weird thing. And there's no blocking mechanism here, and there'd be no reason to block certain people. Like our regulars are missing out of here. So I do, forgive me on that. Yeah, I can see you. Our Philippine journey. He's saying morning, Bookham, Dano, and Panay. Because I see people talking to him. I start collecting at 62. So I can see you here, but you're not in the stream. And George, last time, that's what we were talking about. We're like, there are several people not here. And then we go back and forth over the same thing. And I'm like, what's going on? So I'm going to check through the app to see what's going on. So it's not intentional, Mike and Arlen. I see you're one of them. But I can't see. I don't even see Scott. I can see you here, but I don't see you in the stream. There'd be no reason to block our regular moderator. That's insane. Let me see. Yeah. So I'm going to go through here and figure it out. So my apologies on that. Hey, Cindy's got her coffee. Good morning. And I'll get down to the comments. So I just want to, that's what I was noticing. So yeah, sorry about that, Mike. So yeah, definitely check out Mike, guys. He's one of the guys we watch. And here's the thing: we watch a lot of your channels. We just don't always comment. We need to. We know it's part of the algorithm, part of the letting you know we're here. But George watches too. His theory on that is that we're also trying not to like interrupt, like coming in and saying, "Hey, here we are," situation. But we do really like our Philippine journey. Yeah, it's more because you're getting colas. Yeah, not much more on those colas. It will never meet, it'll never meet like the inflation. Someone the other day was like arguing with one of us about it. Yeah, that the colas are coming in and that'll be great and it helps all that, but it doesn't. But as our Philippine journey said, it also, you should not be relying strictly on Social Security. Unfortunately for me, besides some savings, it is because I got wiped out of a couple other things. And it is for a lot of people. It's not even close to even a joke that most people are. And you're not supposed to. Should have planned better. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. And but besides savings and that, yeah, that's it. I had pensions I wiped out. I've been divorced several times, and other medical and other house things, and just basic middle class will just do you in these days. Middle class is disappearing, but for the most part, people should not be strictly relying on it. But if you have to, going overseas with some planning is way better than being wiped out and being homeless, in your country too. So just with planning, and some guys have some really good luck. The Philippines is a country you visit for a once in a lifetime experience, but not. As others have said lately, it's a soft landing. I think they actually said somebody mentioned Cambodia, a certain town, but then people say if you go to other areas of Cambodia, it's absolutely dangerous, 100%. But can't say, haven't been there. But can you guys hear those puppies? The neighbor two doors down is basically running a pet shelter down there. We're not talking about like us having our cats in the house. No, I guess George says he's breeding cats and dogs down there and just has them out in the yard. It's kind of crazy. But no, you can always hear them down there yelping, and it concerns me because we've seen a lot more of like rats and stuff like in the yard. Like you can see them running around in the dark and stuff. I wonder if they bite the dogs and cats out there or eat them. I don't know. I don't even think about it. But they're saying that the Philippines is a soft landing. Now, I wouldn't know because I haven't gone to the other Asian countries. That wasn't our intention. It was to come here and live the same way we're living in the United States, but cheaper. And for George to be around his family. And now he's got a granddaughter he spends a lot of time with. And so that was the ideal, is to not go into eating cat food, as dinner in the United States because of bad planning. Or, it was like a bonus all the way around. Okay. So we do okay here. We're not, we're not exactly ahead of the game, but we're, doing okay situation. But considering it'll get you used to Asia and some of the things going on, it is one of the better spots. Here lately, a lot of them are leaving. They come here, they stay a year or two, they get tired of all the different things I've been bitching about over the years, and then boom. You know what I think's funny is we initially have that video where we do the pros and cons, like in the pandemic, and everything was pissing me off or freaking me out, or I called out everything that was going on. And I think that's one of our top videos. If you look at our popular videos, and I look at it now, like me and George were like sitting at the table. You could see the size difference of how big I am. And then we were like going back and forth and just discussing different things and eating food and stuff. And it was some raw footage 5 years ago when we first started, audio off and everything, which we still do. This was never meant to be a professional show. We're not running some pro podcast, 1.8 million subscribers with people doing all the work for us. Which, by the way, strangely, there's a lot of these channels that are anywhere between 50 and 100,000 here. They're paying people to do all their editing, and they're paying people for scripting, and they've got staff members, but kind of out there. Our mail to 7 days to reach Manila and 10 days to reach. Okay, yeah, that's kind of crazy. For those that are just coming in, the beginning I mentioned I received the second letter, came out there in the rain yesterday. They just had it folded in the gate. So yeah, it arrived on the 20th in Manila, and it took 9 days to get to Mabalacat. Okay, a couple miles from the airport, which is Angel City Clark Airport, is where we're at, about 2 miles away. And then from the 29th, we got it on the 9th. So it took 10 more days when it was in the city. It clearly states the city here when it arrived. They stamped it the day it came in Mabalacat. And then it now just came yesterday on the 9th. So now I received one about a week ago, week and a half. Now I understand the neighbor had it. That's what I was trying to say earlier, is the neighbor had it. I figured that's why it took 9 days. No, this is a brand new one directly put on by the post guy. Insane. And for those that are just joining, the topic is about you can do your paperwork with FBU on the proof of life letter, and that packages and mail are no longer outgoing to the United States. Now, I think you can still do that's through the postal mail, but the FedEx and all that is, and of course, incoming is coming. So I just want to let you guys know, because a lot of people are confused that it's not even incoming. I'm sure that it's incoming. We will live part-time in the U.S. and part-time in the Southeastern. Yeah, Thailand and Vietnam is what I'm hearing has got it going on, man. Maybe George, if something happens with George and he falls down the stairs and this and that, and I can get my act and health together and hit the lottery and do a couple other things and gather some money or have insurance or whatever, then I think I'm going to go to Vietnam. I'm just going to skip Thailand. Yeah. So the wife and I can easily visit the Philippines but not live there. By the way, it's raining. Is it? It's been raining. I'm not talking bad about the Philippines. I lived there for some years, but it's pretty much raunchy. My views only change when I start seeing other countries. Yeah, yeah. And for me, I view it through currently through other expats and videos of different people that, I look at both sides, like the people doing the raw videos as vloggers and things and documentaries on other, non YouTube channels. And then you could watch as I call real TV on Facebook, where people just like randomly show these countries and what's going on. And yeah, there's a big difference. There is a big difference. And I'm not here on, I am not running one of those channels, neither is George, where we're here for tourism and for this, and that. We're just living here. It's, there's a fine line, I get it, of like trashing it totally and keeping it in there because believe me, I still have a 50% filter on. But yeah, it's a soft landing for people, but a lot of them will go off to other countries because my biggest problem now is the bang for the buck of what they're charging. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you can pay $40 for a steak in the US and it's shit." No, here they're charging some at some or a lot of places overpriced, and it's not even half a quality situation. Some of it is just really bad. And the same with, I don't feel that it's just you're not getting your bang for your buck and service and the way people are handling things. And then there's 100 excuses. Well, it's because they're only being paid $10 an hour, and it's only because they're only being paid $20 an hour. And I'm like, no, there are people here that put their full effort into it too. So it's a mix because they don't order right, and the fact that they don't order enough so it doesn't expire. Okay, so you feel it's the management. We were discussing earlier the out of stock thing. Do you guys feel that it's because they don't order it right, or is it because they're really out of stock? I feel it's a little bit of both, but I feel more it's mismanagement. I think it's mismanaged. I think the stuff is available. They say it's because it's the Philippine Islands. Yeah, you could have said that 30, 40 years ago, but now with constant boats and items coming in, because look at the other sorry stores that have this stuff, or the other stores that do have the items. Or they're just not. We're talking mom and pop restaurants running out of stuff. And it's not because they sold a million of them in one day. It's just because nobody went and got it, or they didn't manage to get it, or it's the passive, I'll get the onions tomorrow. And they'll just go without onions on everything because they just didn't want to take that step. It's island mentality, in my opinion. Does anybody else feel it's an island mentality? Oh, I'll deal with it later. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah, it's not important today. And it's just like then you lose business, customers, and then three other Filipinos open up the same shop. Call it Onions and Chop. It's true. If you guys open up a laundromat like right now on this street, first time in my life I seen where businesses run inside of subdivisions. So they don't do that in the United States. I didn't even see that in Mexico. You don't live in a subdivision and have all these little businesses everywhere, but they do that here. They set businesses up everywhere in the Philippines inside of a subdivision, and you can't even say it's because if they're not fancy. I've seen fancy ones where the rent are up there, and they still have them inside the subdivision. So it may be a little bit more posh, like a little bit nicer restaurant or a nicer like boutique or something, but they still do exist in some of the subdivisions. But they have all these businesses. If you open up a laundromat, just like in our last one laundromat came up while we lived there for the 14 months, and then three others on the same street opened up. And I'm like, it's so if you don't, the next person will come through. So, hey, Scott, like I said, I could see you here, but I have to find out why I can't see you. So, hmm, yeah. That's why I keep looking down on my phone. I benefit nothing. Chosen One said, I just love it. Do what you love, right? Hey, Slick Rick, good morning. Good morning, Victoria. For those that are also coming in, yeah, George is at his family house this morning. And thank you for the support that we've been receiving. It's been really rough. So it's been really hard. And I know George is a super private person. I'm even surprised he's doing social media because when we started, it was both of our ideals, but he was really closed up in the beginning. And then we started doing like skits when we were in Mexico and opening up, meant to be fun. It's always meant to be fun and communicate. It was never, we never expected to make $1 or people to send us Billy Vine boxes, or like when we did the e-trike support thing where people helped us on the e-trike where I can get around more, and all of that has just been great support. And we do it because of the people. It's more of a, it's like an AOL chat room thing. We were just talking about AOL, but no, actually, sadly, I think it's pulled us together more because he's finally, for once in 6 years, opened up to me. When we met, the hardest problem I had with George is that I felt he was being deceptive. He was cheating because he hid everything, no matter how little it is. And to women, the fact that you would hide every single thing is really bad. And then I would find out later, and then it's like it made everything 10 times worse. So, yeah, that it, I don't expect he has to tell me everything, but if he'd, let me know that, then maybe not that I'm gonna let him off the hook, but if he just would have, he won't even say anything, so he doesn't have to in order to be off the hook. People are like, well, you should be treating him nice no matter what. I do, but when you stay long periods of time at the family house and don't say, hey, my uncle's really sick, because his uncle is still sick, or I have to do this and that, and then you disappear for 12 hours, he won't even say, he won't contact. So it's been hard with the communication, but we've become closer because of it. And it's sad that, it took a death to bring us together, guys. So, but we do appreciate, we do, we really do. Ah, interesting. I'll get down to your comment. Hector said the Canadian Beaver Bar is closing. The Philippines life is cutting his loss now. Well, I can actually see that if that's what he's doing. I watch him on the occasion, but I figured the bar would go down within a few years because there was an episode a little bit back where he said it's hard to get the product. Now that he said he's having a hard time, but he's trying to do, unfortunately, he's trying to do super high quality, which is okay, but he raised the bar way up there and having certain things, and he's only charging certain amounts, and there'll be little to no profit. It's a lot of work. Even in America, you have an overturn of employees. It's really rough in the Philippines. Getting good help that'll stay will require a high amount of money. He's paying that high amount of money and they're not coming in situation. So he's dealing with staffing, he's dealing with cost of product. And I'm telling you, prices have just shot up in the last month really bad. So he's got, and I don't think it's not like the United States where you have like a wholesale truck that's coming all the time. It's not like, I think he's just buying it on the side. So he's fighting multiple things. He's in a relationship again. He's got a stepdaughter. He's not married to her yet. I don't know. Maybe he did marry her already. But you're dealing with a kid in the household. Your life never stops. Me and George's life is really simple, and we're not raising a business, but we know from morning to night we stay busy. So imagine having a family and then the bar and restaurant and all that. It would not surprise me at all. Not at all. We need an ice age from an asteroid to hit us and do us a big reset, right? It'd be nice. I mean, I'll miss the internet, but funny thing is when electricity goes down or the internet and all this shit falls apart and all of that's wiped out, a lot of the people that are under 40 won't even know what to do. I was watching that movie the other day, War of the Worlds. I could almost get that out. A lot of people didn't like it. I didn't. It had Ice Cube in there, and most of it was just him sitting in front of a computer. And it's one of those that show mostly computer. It kept me interested for a little bit, just based on I like the other movies, not quite the same. But basically, it showed what would happen if it all goes out. Like all of our memories are starting to be on Facebook and videos and photos, and like we have put a lot of our stuff on digital through Google, and a lot of stuff we're looking up instead of going to the library is on there. So like when all this is wiped out, you're back down to books. Okay. And it's possible you wouldn't even have TV at that point. So you take away everything digital and TV and electric and all that. You have to be able to, do you. We did that in the 80s and 70s and 60s, but the new generation I don't think can hold on. But a reset would be hard for anybody under 40, I'm sure. And you're right. There's raunchy places in the US. Sure. It's pretty shitty over there too. I get it. At least it's cheap here. So it's how you want to deal. Right now, when I got here 5 years ago, stuff going on in the US right now in the last 6 months to a year was not going on. Now I'm sure I never want to go back. Sorry, I would not go back with George back there. Not now. Nope. Yep. They're liable to snatch him and put him on a farm. Picking strawberries in Florida. Oh boy. Just got your coffee. I just want my AC and some donuts. Yeah, actually, we ought to create a song. George created a Christmas song the other day, so I'll have to make a AC and donut song. That would be funny. AC and donuts and George and George. That would be funny. Yeah. If you at 70, you're almost dead. Yeah, I should have said unalive. Yeah. Talking to Bookham Dano. Don't pull that George shit. Yes, America has many poor places, but it is not a country as a whole. Depending on when you were born, you can retire, not just all of us at 65. Yeah. The breaking even age is 79 to 80. Yeah, a lot of people. The biggest thing is people only live for a few years when they start collecting their social security or they quit working. The sad part is there's people on social security that are getting, that are out there with jobs. They definitely cannot survive. There can be two people on social security. Again, I understand you're not supposed to live on it, but let's be honest, a lot of them did all these years. Anybody I knew in my family had some savings and they were on social security. You could back then. It's just you weren't supposed to. And the program, God, just be thankful it's not like here in the Philippines. It pays little to nothing here. I think their social security pays out maybe $20-$30. It's kind of crazy. And then I think it's how old, 60 to get they have like benefit cards that give some percentage and this is not, but it's not to foreigners, which is kind of weird because if you're a permanent resident and if you're on an SRV, why wouldn't they give the card to those foreigners? I've been trying to figure that out too. It's been I'm like, well, they get discounts in the United States no matter what country they're from if they prove their age, but here it is just for Filipino. They even give warnings that foreigners are not to use the card. And I'm like, I get it. Some things I gotta, hold up to. So they are upping the retirement age all over the world. And thank you so much. Cindy was sent me the information on that. So immigration knows where I am, and but still register with the embassy. Still, I did. So one of our videos, we put the link. But if you just go to U.S. Embassy, it's for emergencies, and I guess in case you have to be taken out and sent somewhere, but a lot of people get paranoid about it. It's tracking. For me, it's in case there is another major typhoon that does wipe this area out, which in our area probably a little harder, but it could be another Pinatubo again. It would be important. So I just want them to know where I am. So in case I fall down the stairs. I have no intention on dying in the Philippine soil. It's sad that Heidi feels that's her last stop. Not really. It was my plan from the beginning. I didn't give up my family and sell everything in our cars and empty out 2 households and to actually keep going back and forth. And another thing, honestly, with my medical conditions, I've discussed this. I can't see going back and forth on an airplane. It's with my medical problems, traveling a bunch more would be a problem. Anything that would take that amount, anywhere between 30 and 50 hours, would be horrible right now for me. I have medical issues with the lupus where even there's let's just put it that way, I just can't. There's just no way I would double my size just in fluids based on stress and heart issues and all that, and would never recover. So I just can't. I would in an absolute emergency, but besides that, medically I couldn't. But you know what? It's not. People like, oh, you went to the Philippines. It's based on where my husband is from, and so it's just where it is. It kind of is. I'm registered with SRV. They know where I am. Yeah, but I don't think that's the. I mean, I guess they'll go through that list and figure that out, but I don't think that's stopping. That's totally separate from the embassy and totally separate from Social Security knowing you're here. So, because Social Security says you must, now people are like, well, that must doesn't mean that I have to. It's a recommendation. I'm pretty sure they're telling you to do it, but it's up to each individual to go through and do that. But it's a start, I guess. Yeah, as much as immigration grills me sometimes, it is just so strange now. Never like the decades ago as a volunteer, just pay and go. Mhm. It's smart move to have multiple accounts at different banks in case it has issue. My SS pension, yeah, disability, it goes into different accounts. Very good idea. Yeah, it takes a little tracking of the accounts. Yeah, that's like what's going on is that George has, we have the one at Metro. He has two. I have two. The problem is for us is it seems to be when they go in, they see all 4 accounts. I think they've clicked them all together because we're dealing with getting replacement cards at PNB right now, and they're like, well, which account, and then what type of card, and it's just kind of, but they are connected. But yeah, it's a good idea. Big brother is watching. Yeah. Yes, I have used Motolite for my van already. Yeah, I'm just wondering. It was really, yeah, I think it's interesting. I was just wondering if that's because she looked it up online initially and maybe it popped through Facebook because we're both on Facebook and communicate through Facebook. I'm wondering, it probably is. There's no doubt in my mind that's how it works now. So, our Philippine journey is sending my ashes to Chosen One. There you go. My one daughter is the beneficiary on my account and has access to everything. Yeah, I need someone to trust. Yeah. Yes, he's always missing. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning, Black Grandpa. Good morning. No, I'm aware of that. Second Wind says there's an all messages on top. No, what it is on this app for streaming. We started Restream a few months ago because of the cost of what's it called? Because it went up to $50 for the monthly payment versus 25, and we're just not going to pay it. Unfortunately, that's a big hit for streaming, and so here it doesn't. For some reason, like 2 or 3 people, I can't see no more here, and I don't know why. I don't even see the option unless we hit something on a few people, because when you're rolling and scrolling, it just acts up. So I think, yeah, so I don't know why, because it's not even, it doesn't even show it ghosted to turn back on, or even if it did get hit. That's just the crazy part. I see where people are talking to multiple people, but they're missing. So that's why I'm not putting certain things up, because I can't see them. But I can see, I know about the all messages. I mean, we've been doing it for 5 years. It's here. It's on the app, through YouTube. I can see our Philippine journey. I can see Scott, but the messages that I can put up on the air, the streaming part's different than YouTube. We're not, like when we did the restaurant the other day, we streamed from directly through YouTube, and you can see only that. And that's why we didn't like put the messages up situation. But when you're doing it through a streaming software, it's a little different. Hey, what's going on? Jose is in the house. Sperlin. Hey, what's going on? Laura is in the house. Good morning, sweetie. I'm actually going to try and meet Sunshine Shoulders at the Power Bank Mall, Makati, on the 27th. Man, that man's like the Energizer Rabbit. I love how he's like, he's full of energy. Here's the thing. I think my hyperactiveness and like my ADHD and all that kind of, I want to go, but when your knees are busted out and then you have lupus, it's like by the time 10:30, 11 hits, it feels like I want a nap. But then if I try to go to sleep because I'm hyperactive, I can't. But I can't move a bunch because I'm so drained. So it's just like, doesn't matter multivitamins, doesn't matter what I've done the last few years. I just can't find the energy. George has a lately, I think it's now officially, um, his energy levels are going down, but I don't know. And I expect now with his dad passing, he'll really be in I hate to say it's going to be a form of deep depression. A few months will go by, he'll go through the grieving stages, and then I think it'll hit him really hard. I've seen him cry over this, but I suspect in another month or two, it'll just be a scream or something, because it takes some time. You'll go through the whole thing. But yeah, we started watching a mini. It's a mini series, but was it on Netflix? It's actually really good. It's a new Tyler Perry. I think it's Beauty in Black, Woman in Black, something with the word black in it. It's awesome as shit, man. It's got a lot of surprising turns, but it's into its second season. It's the new Tyler Perry. And me and George has really been watching that. And it's kind of been keeping our minds off of things. And we go through and we stopped watching some of that true crime because just things were getting too true and the stairs were looking a little good. So George is what do you call it, in a reprieve or something, like he's on the good list again. And it's Christmas, so here's the thing: I'm gonna leave George alone. Watch, I'm gonna try really hard. If you guys just see me doing the side eye and I do this to him, then I'm just gonna let him have his way for the rest of the year. Okay? I'm gonna be nice to George through the Christmas season. Jingle bells, leave George alone. Maybe I'll try harder. Leave George alone. Leave him alone. Oh boy, I don't know. Maybe. I'm just reading through you guys talking to each other. Um, Cindy says, visiting. Yeah, visit here is fantastic. Living is rough. Right. We've covered different topics about, it's paradise and fun if it's vacationing. When people come here, it's different. Once they live here long term, more than a month or so, more than a few weeks, or even long term in their relationships, living here long term, things just, you're just living here, and that's just it. It's, be pretty much like living in the United States. Then you're just dealing with yourself and dealing with the everyday things. And I've gotten over, believe it or not, the noise, the traffic situation. Well, the traffic still bugs me, but like the dogs barking and bikes. Like 2 days ago, there were just two or three motorcycles out in the street again about 2 a.m. And they sit right in front of the house, and they've turned their motorcycles and they're just sitting out there, and they're just, I don't know where they come from. And I don't know, but the dog's out there barking. And so it's just like, but you kind of get over that too. I just went right back to sleep. I didn't even bother to figure out who they were. So, what is this? I am your only friend. My channel will be dropping soon. That'll be cool. Name it Heidi doesn't know shit. Yeah, there you go. New name. Hey, what's going on, Luke? Good morning. What is going on? Good morning. From San Francisco, Slick Rick's in the house. Is Mr. Man is tariffing mail. Yeah, so countries worldwide suspended U.S. mail, but courier companies are still shipping. Correct. Yeah, the recipient will have to pay the tariffs. Yeah. So it is the postal here that will no longer have it. You can't ship a box through the post office or mail to mail. You'll have to use the DHL or some of these others. Yeah. I'm the only non-YouTuber with trolls. Yeah, how does that even work, right? They love you, man. That is true. Right? The good, the bad, the ugly, the trolls. Once you're in the game for a while, you start to realize who's sending you emails because they tell on themselves because they're exact words. So we know who some of these people are. We've traced them. And then after that, we got some good advice from a few vloggers in Dumageddon, and now we just go by that. Sometimes, like if we're going back and forth on the channel, we had initially done some videos, and then after that, if we don't even know what they say, then we just let it go. But I always have that theory: until I see you in public or until you show up at my door, I don't give a shit. It's some things you just have to like goodbye. So it's fun. Sometimes we miss them. Me and Georgia said that the other day. It's kind of weird. All of a sudden they went silent. So, and some of them are blocked from email. So it's just like, so then the messages aren't coming in. They create new accounts, and it's just like, that's okay. Let your freak fly. Trolling you do for free, huh? Good morning. Yeah, so you're talking about the Canadian beaver, yeah. I was talking about that earlier. It's all supply and demand in the Philippines. The locals eat pork and seafood, and they don't eat beef, and not enough expats can afford to have it flown in. Yeah, that would be a good place for it. Yeah, like when we were at the coffee shop the other day and we did those nachos, they changed up the formula. It practically was milk water on there on top of the nachos, and the beef was the soy. It was the flakes, and I like the soy myself. But if you're buying nachos and you're paying $8, $7 for nachos, and it comes with fake meat on it, you get kind of the first time you kind of get disturbed, and you're like, wow, you're paying a premium in the Philippines for an item you expected to be somewhat premium. Don't hold your expectations up there. But then when it arrives with no real meat on it, then but it's then you just learn after that. Like the first few times I had Filipino pizza, and we did order pizza the other day, and we asked him to cook it brown. We've done that at Landers. George took it back 3 times for them to add 10 minutes because they considered it brown and cooked, and it was still raw for us, just dough wise. And he sent it back. They still did, and it still never even got close to brown. It's like, I don't know if they have their ovens turned way down, or I was just like, okay, let's have to work. But it's soft pizza here, so it just kind of. Thanks, Slick Rick. Thank you. Yeah, he's really going through it. Thank you, Victoria. Yes, guys, got to remind you, don't forget to hit that bell. Oh, okay, so according to Jose, he's shutting down the farm, not the bar. I don't know. I still say, what's he been doing that for about a year now? Could be longer. He could be doing it for longer. But yeah, it's a lot. I forgot about the farm part of it. He started trying to grow his own vegetables and stuff. And wouldn't that take forever to get a decent crop in, or that would be worth. I just can't see that. I actually know he talks to his uncle. I know he talks to his sister a lot, but ever since we've met, everything's been, and we're not talking about little things. We're talking a lot of everything. There is no communication. Um, but like he likes to just deal with at the moment things, like, if we're doing board games or we're traveling or having fun. It can't be all party all the time. And for George, it has to be. That's the way he is. So he just, I told you guys that the last time we had that big blowout, but now I know half of the way he acted was because his dad was dying. You could have just said, there's this going on, but he never did. So he's taking in the frustrations. Again, should I had more patience knowing? Yes and no. It just would have, if you just would have been open, then it would have just told part of me inside as a wife and misunderstanding. He's just been rude to me because it was just, but yes, he needs to. And on the side, I offered, like, hey, maybe we should go sit down with somebody and talk or whatever, like couple therapy, which is not unheard of, guys. And for him, it was a no. And so I got shut down immediately because it's not worth it. So, to not try to go through these things, but it made a little bit more sense. But yes, he does. But he's always been like that. Some of the stuff I have found out on my own has been unbelievable. And I'm like, wow. So, and I'm not going to just give a pass and say, hey, whatever. At this point, it's almost expected to say, I'm going to give him a pass on everything and just never say nothing no matter what he does. You got to hold people accountable. You got to hold something. You don't get to be a 12-year-old kid like I called him the last time and just game and have good times and not deal with life like your mom's handling everything. And that's what he's getting. That's what, so to find this out, I was not relieved because it was extremely upsetting. And then it was a like, okay. So, for those we've received messages, oh, he's got to be cheating. He's got to be this. No, not George. If you guys understood me and then understood George, you would understand that that's not what's going on. But it did look like it. It did really look like it, but it's not. So, yeah. It's Ah, dog going off means the trash man. Making sure it's not the delivery people. We sent a message earlier stating that Philippine Life says he's closing his farming. Yeah, that would just take a long time to do that. Well, it would probably be just a matter of time on the bar and restaurant. I just don't know of a lot of successful restaurants. Only a few in Angel City have stayed open long term, maybe 10% of them, 15, 20%. It's not like all of them. They tend to go down pretty quick. And as I think he said, he didn't even have any experience when he started, and especially in a manner like that. I mean, I wish him luck, and it's really a cute place. Most definitely. Oh, they said he was something about moving it. Yeah, no, I know he had partners. He talked about that in the beginning. Yeah. I'm pretty raw. I don't translate to mainstream, right? No, he's got a lot of fire or irons in there, Sarah. Most definitely. I notice he's a lot of, and that, you can keep going and have all the energy and drive, and then all at once you can just crash. And he's got a lot going on. I forgot about the farm where he's trying to do his vegetables. Think about it. Even if you're just doing the bar, he probably is over top of everything. Like, he'll make sure, if you can't delegate and have people you can trust to place the orders and manage this and that, and even if you have them, you still have to manage them. Then his personal relationship. Then he was building something onto that place he was living in, like the personal house. did he ever rent that place out? Like, wasn't he building on the house that was on the property? And so much, thought he was going to rent those out as an Airbnb. So think about it. He's got a lot of things going on. So, no, I can see both of them here, Sarah. Sarah wants to know, are those missing people? No, he's here. He's on our Philippine journey. What's his name is here. There's something going on with the studio itself that I'm streaming through today. And some of them have been missing for a while because somebody says, why aren't you mentioning my comments? It's something going on with our new windows and the streaming software. It looks like a bunch of names got hidden. I probably say at least 4 people, and I don't know why they're not. There is a way to block here too, but nobody went in and blocked anybody. That's the crazy part. So I have to go figure out how. Well, there is no uninstalling and reinstalling. That's just it. I'm going to have to take time today or tomorrow and go in and start going into settings and figure something out. You live as long as you take care of your health. Yeah, or make changes. That's for sure. For me, I used to drink several times a week. I don't drink. I think I have one a year maybe. And even recently in the last year, I haven't drank at all. So I used to smoke cigarettes, probably no less than probably 2 or 3 packs a week. It wasn't a pack a day. I gave that up probably when me and George first met. I wasn't smoking, so about 7 years. So I'm not smoking anymore, and we used to eat out a lot. So it used to be a lot of fast food. That's down to maybe once a week. And I took sugar out of the house. I do some Moscavo sugar, and that's on the occasion. Like I made some homemade gingerbread, but I used um, flax seeds, and it's got the plant. It's like stevia. It's not a chemical non-sugar, and man, my face is still itching. So anyways, I've been making healthier choices. So like I said, for every 30 good ones I make one bad one, like when we had the pizza, but I was drained. It was, we found out the other day about his dad. And so there are times I just don't have the energy. But yes, you have to take care of your health. I'm drinking water. We do green teas. We've been doing more teas lately. I haven't drank soda forever. I just don't do soda either. And that's death in itself. So no, you have to start to do something. Slowly losing weight here and there. I move more and try to get out. But it's so true. Yes, you have to take care of your health. Raymond says that they're wanting to raise the retirement age to 70. Life expectancy for man is 75. Okay. Ha ha ha, Steve. Steve talking about, do they make you pay for 2 seats? They're going to make anybody pay for 2 seats that's 30 pounds overweight. Are you kidding me? Yeah. What's the software? Yeah, Restream. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, Tracy's Corner? Good morning. Yeah, I don't know. I remember you a long time ago. Let's see. He was in the United States. So his mom and dad own a house here, a big family house in San Fernando. And then they have a house in Florida. And his dad's family on that side, a lot of them are in California and here in the Philippines. And like his mom's side of the family's here. So most family here, some in the United States, but his dad is there. So his dad has yeah, so that's what's going on. meet up with meet and greet. So just looking at the comments here. Oh, why? There it is. Thank you so much, Tracy, for the super chat. Thanks. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Tracy's Corner. Thank you for the advice you gave George. You and George gave me earlier this year. We don't find it rough at all. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Yeah, crispy bacon. I hear you on that. Yeah, it's kind of, no, it seems to be a lot of it soft. We're not mind readers, though we sense much. Yeah, as women, I knew there's something going on. I mean, I knew it wasn't. If you listen to everybody that said, "Oh, well, with him, it seems that he's," well, that's why I call him an insensitive prick sometimes. But it seems like cheating. It seemed like the deception and going to family's house long term and all the time, and then him not talking about it or spending the entire day not talking to me, or it just didn't look good. But then I realized it's George, but it doesn't give him a pass either. But yes, as a mother and, as his wife, I'm like, it's not worth it. Pick and choose your battle. So by the time you see me popping off, I've already been through 10 things with him. It's just not that I'm 24/7 bitch. I mean, it's in me, but but it's the same with George. He is carrying a bunch of things and then goes off on me. So lately you've seen he's been using the F word, and it's like that never happened a couple of years ago. It's not me pushing him to the edge. He's got his own stuff going on for sure. Hey Lucca, good morning. In other words, yeah, intuition is real. Yeah. I mean, for those that, I personally talk with, know for sure that, I already had that in me to know. Yeah, that's a no. No. Yeah. So no, returning back to the US to go to a funeral. Yeah. No. And it's, as I'm to understand, I mean, again, I'm not in the loop. That'll tell you. I keep asking him, he will not tell me. So he's still not communicating with me. This is not normal. If I ask what's going on and then I asked him the other day about it and he's not talking. So you know, but as I'm to understand, there won't be a full funeral. They're just going to cremate him and then he'll be brought back here. So it's because everybody's in California and they're all back here in the Philippines. I mean, if there's only 5 people there, I don't think they will do a service for cremation. So that much is probably too much for his family. That's me giving out too much information. So that's about all I can say. I'm not allowed to say. So he's not allowed to talk to me and I'm not allowed to say, and it's like, that's it. So that would be why. And if there is, I'll be the last in the loop. And thank you, Tracy. You're allowed to only work certain amount. Yeah, I don't know if you're talking about like with Social Security. So yes, on disability, they got like these work programs where you can do 20 or 30 hours a week where you're actually doing work and collecting a paycheck in your name and going through and all these other things. So yeah. Oh, Tracy Thompson. Okay. Bingo. Yeah, we always tell people, even by just saying Tracy's Corner, and a lot of people like Second Wind and all them, we get to know them by by their names, and even then we get them mixed up. So it's thank you, Tracy. Now I know. Yeah. If you say mulliton, they will make your bacon crispy. We have, and George has, and it still comes back soft like the pizza. You have to ask several times, but yeah, you can get it where it's really crispy, crispy. Guys, I appreciate you being here. I'm going to wrap this up based on Social Security, and we're going to have a package delivered here in a little bit, and I'm going to get making some lunch. Maybe he'll come in by lunch, maybe. Got the dog here. But thank you guys for joining the live stream, and we will be in tomorrow. So, like I said, I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to stick to a Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Maybe Saturday is an extra one, but I think we're trying to leave us having the entire weekend, like, having a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.